Welcome, everyone, to this Good Leadership Podcast. My name is Charles Good, your host and the president of the Institute for Management Studies. This podcast is designed to provide you with actionable insights and tools that you can use from discussing the research, stories, and background from recognized experts and practitioners to accelerate your impact in your current role. Well, welcome, everyone, to this episode of the Good Leadership Podcast. I'm so happy to be joined again by Ann Tardy, who is a speaker, author, and a person that allows people to execute powerfully in ever-changing environments. Her influences include over 25 years as a Silicon Valley corporate attorney. She's a current CEO, and Ann knows people from many different dynamics, working alongside some of the best and brightest lawyers, entrepreneurs, VCs, and business owners, and has incorporated companies, negotiated mergers, managed venture-backed financing, and held many anxious CEOs' hands, and she loves it. She's also the author of many best-selling books, including The Joy of Mentoring, Why Mentoring Matters, and today's focus, Moxie for Managers. She has an upcoming program with IMS around leading versus managing. Welcome to the program, Ann.
Thank you so much. It's always a joy to work with you.
Thank you, Ann. I just want to remind all of our listeners kind of your background. So I'd love to hear a little bit more about that, from corporate attorney to leadership guru and thought leader. Walk us through that journey and how it led you to the point that you're at.
Well, I took a business law class in high school, loved it, loved my professor, loved everything about it, wanted to be a lawyer so badly. Went to law school, moved out to California because it was the start of the World Wide Web. The internet went public in the year that I moved out there, and startups were just gangbusters. And so I practiced law in Silicon Valley, and it was amazing. It was such a wonderful place to grow up professionally. But I got a little jealous of all the entrepreneurs and the people were talking about working together and collaborating and creating businesses, but really the teams that they were working on. And I was only doing the contract. So I really wanted to do something more involved in business and the professional world. So I started volunteering for an all girls middle school. And I was a coach for a seventh grade girls team that was starting a business as part of this year-long program. I just fell in love with teaching, leading, mentoring. I did not look at a contract for 1 hour every single week, and it was really great fun. And as I was thinking about what I wanted to do next in my law career, because the startup that I was leading, their legal department, they were going under and I had to fire everybody, myself included. So at that point, I thought, well, what if I just pivoted and really leaned into this love that I have found around leading and managing and mentoring? What would that look like? And so I sort of created it from there.
Love that. Love that story. Love, maybe we can get into some of the other things that really kind of fascinate me about you. I wanted to talk a little bit, though, now about the Moxie, that whole branding that you have around your image. In short, Moxie, you say, is an enthusiastic, uncompromising movement toward a goal in the face of obstacles with ruthless integrity. I love how you define Moxie.
I love how you defined it for me. Yes, that is great. Yeah, a little backstory. I was dating my now husband, and when I shared with him everything I was up to in life, he said, "Man, you have Moxie." And I thought, well, what does that? I want more of it. And so I incorporated that into the brand of my speaking and my writing. And it really does. It's something I aspire to. I don't always reach it, but I aspire to that and aspire to learn from those who are like that as well.
Well, and one of the biggest influences for you based on your book, right, was your mother. I mean, in regarding leading with Moxie, correct?
Oh my gosh. Yes, my mother exudes it. And so I wrote my first book on my mom and all the lessons I learned from her and how she led her life and what I learned about Moxie and what it means to live your life in a way that your ambition is on a mission. And I put it into 9 steps, and it really allowed me to even step into it more when I was able to dissect what all that looked like and reference my mom a lot. You're right. And then some managers said to me, well, how do we do that with our people? And so that's how I created Moxie for Managers and connected with IMS and started talking more about it in bigger groups because we as managers are in the middle of an organization. And so often people only look to the very top, but the people who are in the middle have so much influence on those below them and those above them. And we have great power in the middle. So if we lead from the middle in a way that is a bit irreverent, a bit ambition on a mission, we could make a huge difference and at the same time fall in love with our jobs again. Because sometimes when we're in these jobs, it just feels like we are just trying to survive until Friday. So, what if we reinvented how we are showing up and working with others and taking on that role?
And I love how you define being in the middle. It's anyone from the receptionist to just under the CEO.
Of
So
course. Of course, it's like
yes,
we're the Velcro, right? We're holding all those pieces together, and we everyone has such great influence, and it really isn't just about the title, and it's about the influence you have over others, even your peers. And who doesn't love someone who shows up with Moxie, right? They show up in the room and they are not stopped by, well, we've never done it before. We don't do it that way, or politics or drama. They just really want to contribute and connect and collaborate. And we know people like that. They're magnetic. And so that's how we can be with our teams.
I agree with you completely on that. And I love how you also say that during your programs, I've attended many of those, that being a great leader really starts with what you need to do to be a great leader, right? Not looking at other employees and really looking on ways in which you can be a embody kind of that servant leadership and serve them.
Absolutely, because if we remember that we're human beings first and managers second, then we can interact with our team and our peers and our leaders like human beings, and that's what they are. So, and because of that, we can really understand the person that's in front of us, and wow, we really kind of mold our conversations and our communications in a way that meets people where they're at, and that's what's so key. The whole servant leadership sometimes throws people, but if we just meet people where they're at, we can connect with them in conversation and in work and help them where they're at, because everyone has their own goals, everyone has something they're trying to accomplish, and everyone has a compelling reason for showing up. And if it's just about us, we're not helping them get what they need as well.
I agree with you. Well, talk to me about the difference between managing and leading. Someone that wants to be a manager who leads versus a leader who manages.
Really good. Well, I think everyone is a manager, not too many leaders out there. I think there's lots and lots and lots of managers. We are all managing something with or without a title. We're managing time, we're managing money, we're managing our to do list, we're managing ultimately the expectations of those around us. And that's what managing is all about. You are getting those expectations met, and we're needing our folks to manage expectations for us as well. So it really is about expectation setting and meeting. That's managing. But when we add on to that, this idea that we can help others become bigger, better, bolder versions of themselves as we're getting our expectations met and we're helping them meet their expectations, wow, now we are influencing, developing, growing the other person. So I truly believe that the we're all managing, we're not all leading, but we could. And so in our programs, we're looking at how can we be all managers who lead. And so we go about our day, we're setting and meeting those expectations, our boss, our folks, and then we pause and we say, how could I help this person grow in this moment? It's a real big challenge because everything about leadership is intentional. I could just go about my day and just meet those expectations and have others meet my expectations. And I could completely miss the opportunity to help them grow, develop, learn something, contribute, be a part of it, own something. And the other hard part about this is nobody gets paid to lead. And that's what's really I truly we don't even think about that. We just think, "Oh, I get paid for no, you get paid to manage expectations, money, responsibilities, time. You get paid to manage. You don't get paid to recognize people. You don't get paid to develop them, to encourage them, to grow them. You don't get paid at all. And so that's what's really hard is we are so focused on what we have to do by the end of the day and the end of the week, and that quarter driver and the goals that we have to meet, that it's so easy to forget that we are in these positions on these pedestals, and we can take those opportunities and lead for a moment of time. And so, if we look at this concept of leadership and say, well, it's a combination of managing those expectations and mentoring people, now we can pull it together and lead.
Well, let's look at that then, because I know that that's an important piece of your program and an important piece for any leader is managing expectations and those expectation gaps.
Charles, I'm entertained when you say those expectations that are likely to happen. No, not likely. Inevitably will happen. Those expectation gaps are going to happen every single day of your life because we miss each other so often in our communications. Look at your personal life. We miss each other there so often. And what's happening is we go about our day and we project our own expectations onto other people and we don't tell them. And it's not like we're withholding. We just assume people know what time zone we're in. We assume they know what the acronym means. We assume they received the email. We assume they understood what we were asking. We assume they have the context. And all of this assumptions, miscommunications, my expectations are bumping up against yours. All of this causes those missed expectations. And then the real drama comes in when we take it personally or we make it personal about them when it's really the gap that we need to look at and go, oh my gosh, we just missed each other. There's an expectation gap. And if we could focus on that and close it, now it's not about you personally or me personally, it's we're in this together, closing this gap. And that's where the power comes in of looking at expectation gaps. So, a tool every time you communicate. How about this? Every time you meet with somebody and you need to have a project done, you agree on when you're meeting next. Like you don't get off the phone or finish a meeting until you say, when are we meeting next? Let's look at our calendars. And therefore, if you're going to do that, you don't have your meeting go up to the very last second of the meeting. You end 5 minutes early of the conversation and you say, great, let's pause here. Let's see who's going to do what. Should we be writing that down? When are we going to meet next? Who is sending out that calendar invite? And you get clarity on that before you even leave. But let's go back to the beginning of the meeting. I personally never start meetings without saying, what do we want to accomplish today? One of my favorite lines I say is, what will make this meeting a success for you? Because I, Charles, know exactly what it would make the media would make a success for me. I got that in my head. I know. And if I assume I know what it's going to be a success for you, then I'm just driving my own agenda. But if I say to you, what would make this meeting a success for you? And I'm literally writing that down. And then I repeat it and go, okay, so we want to do these three things. And if it's not what I need to get out of that, then great. We can negotiate before we dive in and make sure that it's something we can fit in those 30 minutes. But if I know what you need to get out of this meeting and I help you meet that, bam, there's no gaps in that meeting. You're not leaving going, that wasn't useful. What did we get out of that? You feel like your expectations were met. I'm getting mine met because I know what they are, or I'm communicating them to you what they are. And then we end and say, great, where are we leaving this? And who's doing what next? It's just such clarity. It feels good. It feels good and it's simple and it doesn't have drama. So that's a easy tool to do. It's how you start and how you end it, how you follow up with people, the clarity on your emails. Those are just little tricks you can do that make such a difference for somebody else.
How about when you're talking with your supervisor or your boss and you really want to clarify their expectations of you? How do you do that in the right manner and tactfully so that everyone's clear and they're transparent in what their expectations are?
I don't even know if tact is needed. You can literally say, what are the expectations of this project? What would make this a project success for you? What would make this meeting a success for you? How best can I help you be successful, boss? Like, what, if you get clarity on those expectations, how can I help you? What do you need from me on this project? Here's what happens so often. A boss will assign something, and we all do it too. A boss assigns something to us, and so often we go, okay, and we think we know what the deliverable is supposed to be. So two problems happen. One, I don't ask questions. I just assume what that deliverable is, and so or I am maybe intimidated and I don't ask. And then the boss sometimes doesn't know what she actually wants. And I am guilty of this. I'll say, I need this. And I don't really know what I need. I just want something to happen. And then when the boss gets that back, if it's not what she wanted, then she's disappointed, but she didn't really know what she wants. So clearer we are on, well, what does that look like? What does that deliverable look like? Then I can help meet that or push back and say, I actually don't think I could help you with that. Or should we bring in Bob? I think Bob could really help with this. And that's powerful too to have those conversations. And as a boss myself who has this amazing team, I am so grateful when my team kind of pushes the pause button and asks me for clarifying questions and to understand what will help them. Because too often I'm a process as I talk kind of person and I go, let's do this and we'll figure it out as we go. Well, one, not everyone's like that. Two, figuring it out as we go doesn't always get us where we want to be. And so questions that my team asks, it's a pause button. And I go, all right, let's think about this. And so we call it, let's do some thought partnering and we figure out what that looks like before we move forward.
No, you're right, and I've seen a lot of bosses kind of they fall in that thinking trap of mind reading, where people just should know what they're thinking of, but if you put the onus or if the employees really get that clarity, right, then a lot of those expectations, can be transparent and clear, and the boss will likely provide those. It's just asking those questions, right, and making sure that you're clear.
Yeah, asking those questions. And then you elevate yourself, folks, to being a thought partner with your boss, helping him or her think through what the deliverable is. And do we have everything? Do we really want to go in that direction? And just asking questions. You're being a thought partner for your boss. And it's, from my perspective, Charles, you're a boss. I mean, it's really appreciated, isn't it?
Yep, all parties benefit from that approach, I agree. The other area that I see a lot of new leaders, managers getting in trouble with is giving feedback. So it's on both extremes, I see it. They don't give enough positive feedback, and they don't even touch the negative or the critical feedback. They intersperse it throughout the day. It's not genuine, it's just very generic. What are your thoughts around this? And maybe, some tools or techniques that could help leaders out to say, okay, here's when I should be delivering it, because I don't think anyone is feeling too appreciated at work these days.
Well, I'm entertained again because you said every day. I don't think people are doing this every day. I don't think they're giving any feedback, good or bad, every day. I think we think of feedback as that once a year thing I'm supposed to be doing. If we did give it every day in a natural sort of a way, it would not be awkward. It would not be, it would not cause agita. It would just be something that flows. And the way that we talk about it in IMS in my session is even shifting the word feedback to providing information. And you're giving information that will help somebody move towards a goal that they have. No different than an air traffic controller giving information to a pilot who is en route to some destination but has no signs or streets up there to follow. There's nothing up there. So they're looking for information about where they're headed and if they're in the right direction to course correct. And that's it, the good and the bad. And if we can shift in our own minds, I'm giving information, that's super helpful. Hey, I've got some information that would help you and me get to our goal and where we're headed. You might actually make the information about what that person personally wants to accomplish. I know you have a goal of leading this project or a goal of being promoted or a goal of getting certification. I got some information that'll help you get there, but it's got to be something that you're providing that information all the time. The air traffic control does not give information when the pilot gets there. Wow, you almost made the runway. Wow, good job. You're so close this time. There's no way that'll ever happen. They give the information all along the way, not when the pilot gets there and goes, oh, you made it, or oh, that was a terrible route. You did an awful job. You ended up on the wrong island in Hawaii. The air traffic controller would never wait to the end. And so why we wait to the end or that special time every year to give feedback. And I am guilty of going through emails and deleting, going, I don't need to weigh in. I don't need to weigh in. And then going back and going, oh, but wow, I want to recognize her. And so I say, well, thanks for creating that. Thanks for answering their question in that way. Like, not every single email needs an acknowledgement, but when I know they've done something that really just moved that forward, I'll just do a quick, wow, thanks for answering that, or thanks for getting them that special video that really just helped them understand that. And it just makes just a little bit of difference. Like, my people know I appreciate them, and their efforts all along the way. I couldn't do my job without them.
Great advice, and I use it as well. I mean, I use the word advice, not feedback. It's future oriented, and I'm trying to help them move forward in the future instead of focusing on what's in the past. And I definitely agree with you with frequency. Everyone should be doing it more often and not waiting until the end. And it's something that you get in the habit of doing and you get better at over time. But at first, you have to be more deliberate and conscious with it.
Well, like everything around leadership, we have to be deliberate and conscious about it. If we want to show up as leaders, you don't have to, you don't get paid for it. So if you don't want to, don't bother. You're going to get your paycheck no matter what. But if you want to make a bigger difference, influence, produce more yourself, do some succession planning so that you can be strategic and move into other roles, well, then, yeah, you have to be intentional and deliberate and purposeful on the conversations you have and how you work with other people. And I think with us being dispersed, people being at home, it's easy to get lazy about it because we just kind of go, oh, that got done. Okay, moving on to the next thing. And the human being is not in front of us. So we just move to the next email, we move to the next Zoom call. But if that person showed up in your office and handed you the report, you wouldn't just grab it. You'd go, hey, thanks so much for getting this to me. Right? Like, that's what we do. Thank you so much for handing this to me, because it's a polite thing to do and you're human beings. But when we're in this way of email and Zoom, we just go delete, 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 delete. And we don't say the human thing back, like, thanks for sending this to me. And it's just those little things that we did when we were all together so often, but now it's easy to skip over.
Yeah, you bring up a good point too, that it's gotten more difficult in this virtual environment since the pandemic and trying to get people to do it enough. And it's a small thing, but not really a small thing that can make a big impact. So all leaders should be aware of just giving it more frequently and making sure that it's tied to something specific. The other area that I wanted to kind of touch upon too is a lot of leaders, all levels, have issues with delegation. I just had a conversation with one of the leaders the other day that said, he's new in his role. He's been a manager. He's in this leadership role now with this company. And he feels like he has to take everything on because he has to prove his worth for being in this role. And he's micromanaging everyone. And it's really difficult for him to really get on top of things. He feels like he's drowning. And you have a great 4-tier framework for delegation, but perhaps you can just kind of emphasize the importance of it for leaders at all levels and just maybe a little bit of that framework to help individuals out to be better delegators.
So this person you talked about is part of the rescuer club, because all managers get, I'd say the majority of managers are part of a rescuer club. We think we have to rescue, and that looks like micromanaging. And so we go in and do it ourselves and we rescue the situation, rescue the person. But when we rescue, we are sending communication that says, I don't trust you to do it. And so I need to do it myself, or you're not valuable enough. I need to do it myself, even if it's well intended and we think oh, I'm wanting to help out. It's not the right communication because they're no longer owning it. And we are letting them know that they actually can't do it. We have to. So that's one aspect of the rescuing that's really toxic. But delegation, the problem is we try to delegate without focusing on trust, without a focus on expectation setting and gap closing, and without any information providing. Okay, so all the things we just talked about, and we go, oh, I'm going to skip that because I'm good at that. And I'm just going to start delegating. Okay, but I don't trust, they don't trust. I want to touch base and get an update every single hour. They think I'm getting it I'm going to they're going to give it to me every week. So now expectation gaps. I haven't really clarified what I want. I think they should know, but they don't know. Okay, expectation gap. And then at the end, I'm going to give them feedback about how that process was because it wasn't very good and they really should improve how they do projects. So all of that is terrible. No wonder nobody gives it. Delegation should be a complete thought partnership. We should be partnering together. You are still at the end of the day responsible for that project to your boss or whoever you're delivering it to. You're just allowing other people to participate and work on it with you. And so delegating should be all about trust and expectation closing and providing information so people know that they're heading in the right direction, getting you what you need. And you're providing information, they're providing it back. That's what it should all be. But like, if you don't want to do that, then don't delegate. Just say, I'll just do it myself and don't even get involved with them. And then, yes, you'll work longer hours and your folks will feel like you're not sharing any of the work and they don't get involved.
I agree with you. Why don't we talk a little bit about the trust and that connection? Because you're right, it all starts there.
I am gobsmacked constantly about people who want trust but refuse to turn on their cameras on Zoom. And they go, and I'm exhausted and I just can't have that camera on anymore. Okay, that's fine, but people want to see a human face. They don't want to see a black screen. And or when people say, I'm not camera ready, would you go into work with a bag on your head and say, I'm not really office ready today? I mean, like one, people don't care. They just want to see, they just want you to show up. So people don't care like you think they care. They'd rather you show up. They want to see your face. And it's such a little thing to have a face on a camera. And I know you might think, oh, geez, I'm tired of doing that. Well, then have fewer meetings and have some break times in there to not have that overstimulation. But the people you want to influence and want trust, you need to show your face and you need to see theirs. And that's just one. Two, to build trust, you need to show up as a human being first. I actually had someone say to me, okay, I understand the trust things, but do I have to share things like about myself? No, sure, don't share anything about yourself. That's fine. Hold that guard up and don't share. But you don't have to share the intimate details like you would to a therapist, but you can share with someone what your life looks like. You're married, you're not, you have pets, you have kids, like just show up as a human being. And the problem with trust is we're not done with trust. So I should say the problem with thinking about trust is it's not we trust, okay, I'm checking that off, I'm done. We're always working on trust, always. So it's an every time we meet conversation. Every single time I meet with my team, I do human being first and then I do agenda. Always. I say, how are you feeling today? How's your dog? How's your kid? I mean, I pick a topic that I know is important to the people I'm talking to, and we do a little human being thing. Be polite, be kind, be interested in them. And then we go, all right, let's dive in here because I just showed up as a human being for them first. And that's huge because I could just be right about business, but then there's not that trust there. The other problem around trust is that people think they don't need to work on it and they can just go right into recognition or development. And so Charles, if you don't trust me and then I show up and say, hey Charles, I got some feedback for you, you're like, I don't want to hear anything from you. Or I say, Charles, I'd like to help develop, coach, mentor, and guide you to your next adventure. You're thinking, I don't even like you. So nobody wants to be developed, recognized, guided, promoted from somebody they don't trust. And so that's why trust is the very first thing we talk about. And showing up as a human being is just the easy way to do it. Be interested in them, share a bit of yourself, even your vulnerabilities. Like my personal life has been a little challenging lately with the health of my mom and my dog. And I could compartmentalize myself so I can get through work. But if I don't share that, then I say I'm not trusting you with a piece of myself. But if I bring myself to work and go, man, this is like this happens, then again, we're humans, like we're friends. I mean, my team and I were friends first. So I think that's really important. And then it makes it super easy to provide them information, ask them to do a project or take something on. And they know I have their back because we're humans first.
That's so important to build it first, right? But it's also hard for leaders and managers at any level, I think, to be vulnerable, right? To show some authenticity. And one person framed it well for me. They said, well, you like helping your employees with their issues. And I said, "Oh, yeah, of course." And he said, "So why would you deprive them of the right or of that same feeling that they can help you with?" And it's not a sign of weakness. It's really a sign of connection with your employees and with your colleagues.
That's absolutely right. It's all about connecting with another person and sharing a bit about yourself, um, asking their opinion, their advice, asking what they think about a situation. I mean, I'm saying I don't have it all figured out. And so when we have our thought partner sessions about something we're trying to accomplish, I will literally label them that, hey, thanks for your thought partnership. I need help thinking through this. And by doing that, I'm saying, I trust you. I want to hear from you. And even if ultimately I'm going to make the final decision, I want to hear what they have to say. And you're right, Charles, it's about connecting, but I'm allowing them to participate in that. And people support that which they help create. And even if it's a conversation, if you're letting them create that conversation with you, they're going to support it. And connecting and collaborating is important on both sides.
I've always adhered to that motto that, the farther you up, the higher you go up in any organization. It's not about having the right answers. It's about asking the right questions and developing your people so that you can, do the things that you are uniquely positioned to do to really differentiate you and your brand versus trying to do it all.
Yep, and I just wanna emphasize what you said because that is such a mentoring sort of thing, you don't have to have all the answers. Have better questions to ask people, and you'll get them involved, you'll learn so much, and that goes all the way back to closing those expectation gaps. Because when you ask questions, you'll hear where other people are at, what they think, where they're on a project, where they might be stuck, and, it'll give you clarity so you can contribute even more. But if we just assume, we're not going to be able to have them help us, right? Like, just doesn't work without that connection.
You're right, and it takes time. You gotta put deposits into the account. It's not something that happens overnight. I love some of the techniques that you use in your practices, and one of them in particular, maybe you can just unpack just a little bit, is PechaKucha, to build that connection with a group, whether it's your team or that really doesn't know you or just people that you're interacting with maybe for the first time.
Okay, I did not make this up. PechaKucha is an actual exercise that's out there that I just don't think people are using enough. And it is Japanese for chit chat. And the idea is you are sharing pictures of your life or your journey so that other people can learn about you. And so the rules around PechaKucha say you show a picture and you spend 20 seconds on that picture and you move to the next one, and they have whole competitions around PechaKucha. Actually, there's a whole big whole culty world around PechaKucha and the art of it. But as managers who want to lead, all we have to do is share a bit of ourselves. And I have a one-page PowerPoint, and I have pictures of my life, how I got from Chicago to San Francisco to New Jersey. I have a picture of my husband, my dogs, my biking, my books, a couple logos of where I've worked, so I can tell a story and bring people along for the ride about who I am and what's important to me, my professional life and my personal life, and just give them a little glimpse. There's my mom, there's my niece and nephew, there's my step kids. Like, I can share a bit about myself, and I'm a bit vulnerable by doing so because I'm sharing with people. I don't have my own kids. I married a divorced man. My dad died when I was young, but I'm also sharing, like, I love animals. I love to bike. So you see more than you would if I just read a bio or if I just presented you with a LinkedIn profile. I'm sharing a bit about myself. And in doing so, people who are listening, one, appreciate that I am sharing myself as a human being. But second, there's always something that's similar that they can connect with. Oh, me too. I love dogs, or me too. I love biking, or me too. I have stepkids, and we bond over similarities and commonalities. So it's a really easy thing to do, and it doesn't have to take very long. You can have other people on your team do it, and everyone's getting to know each other in ways that they hadn't before. So I love PechaKucha, and I've just kind of created it for myself. I've taken that concept and just created one PowerPoint slide and I have different pictures that I pop up as I tell a story. And it can be as short or as long or as you want, but usually it just takes me a few minutes and it's a nice way to introduce myself. Not that I don't love your introductions of myself, Charles, but when I go and talk about this, then people, I see other sides of me. And you know how I know it works? Because no one's ever looking at their phone when I'm doing it. Like they're just listening to the story. And it's so easy for us as leaders to tell our own story. So it's not even like you have to prepare and memorize anything. You lived it.
That's a great process, a great tool to end on today. Because, like you said, everything starts with laying that foundation of trust. And that's a great way to build connection with your team, with your colleagues, with everyone in your life. So I encourage, hopefully, some of you listening to take advantage of that. Use that tool. It's simple, like Ann said, but it definitely can be powerful. And thank you so much for joining me today.
You bet. And I will just say that everything about leadership is an experiment. So just trying these little tools in any of the IMS sessions, the little nuggets, trying something, experimenting, seeing how it worked, making it your own. That's really what leadership is about. And we're always growing ourselves as we are growing our people.
Couldn't agree with you more. Remind our listeners how they can get a hold of you.
Oh, mentorlead.com, mentorlead.com. That's where everything, that's where I'm at these days. So
Well, thank you again, Ann. Been a great episode.
thank you.
If you enjoyed this episode, I encourage you to share with others and post about it on social media. You can also go to our YouTube channel, which has video recordings of all the episodes of this podcast, along with bite-sized segments called single servings that are designed to answer your most pressing leadership and management questions. Remember, until next time, it's not what you know that counts, but what you do consistently that makes a difference.